Fadi, this isn't just the biggest thing that's happening in the next few days in Saudi Arabia, is it? We have women finally getting behind the wheel on Sunday.
Congratulations. Indeed, I think as trivial as it may sound for someone sitting out of a studio in New York or San Francisco, this is a great news for Saudi Arabia. And I think beyond the social aspect, I think this will have massive economic ramifications and implications. We're moving away from the economy that heavily relied on hydrocarbons to an economy where GDP growth will be fueled by productivity and demographics, which are very healthy.
Two-income households.
Two-income households. So yeah, employment, i.e. women employment, i.e. women driving, i.e. also Saudi in the workforce, new sectors such as the movie theaters that we've just had 2 months ago and so on. I think new industries are being born. We're seeing a massive paradigm shift in the Saudi economy, where also I would like to highlight that this social change is creating economic growth, but also that economic need is also creating social change. Economic need because you need to have two earners in the household with these austerity measures, and then you need to have a woman working, and you need to insert them in the labor force. So we're creating that virtuous circle, I think, of the social and the economy feeding into each other and hopefully creating a healthy foundation for growth moving forward.
Because one of the stipulations or one of the goals of the Vision 2030, of course, is to have 30% employment of women by 2030. Do you think that's achievable? It's standing around 22% at this point.
Well, I think it's, as I said, it's being, I would say, designed to happen. So we're giving all the tools. A lot of jobs are available for Saudi women today. More of them will happen in the future. New industries are being created. And Saudi women have been sitting on the fringe of the workforce for years. And I think they have a massive potential. They're at least as competent as men are, if not more. And I would say that this is an achievable objective, and it might happen way earlier.
Okay, so talk me through this, because obviously this does have implications for the economy. Another thing, of course, that everyone's been talking about for 2 years now, of course, the IPO of Aramco. A lot of people like to talk about Game of Thrones when they discuss what's happening right here inside the kingdom, what's happening with the leadership, what's happening next in terms of all of the regulations that we see, the new implementation of laws and everything. What are the little birds telling you about what could be happening behind the scenes with that IPO? When are we going to see it happening, and what's it going to look like?
Well, Game of Thrones, yes, is very sensational for the media, but let me tell you what we believe would happen. So I think Aramco IPO is a very important shift as well in creating a big asset base for the kingdom that would also help further diversify its economy. So the question for Aramco is the listing of Aramco, and where would it happen? Would it be dual listing, or would it be a single listing? And come to think about it, what would be the hurdle for a single listing? It's a massive IPO. We're talking about for a $2 trillion company, $2.5 trillion, give or take $500 billion. We're talking about 150 billion potential in IPO. So the biggest hurdle for that would be the underwriting of that. Are you able to place it in a single local market? If you assume an institutional underwriting, global underwriting, and the rest could be placed
underwritten by the Chinese
by all institutional investors, whether Chinese, whether American, whether European investors, and eventually leaving a big chunk for the market. That would create another stimulus for institutional investors that would like to invest in the biggest oil company in the world, i.e. the biggest company in the world actually. They would have to come to Saudi Arabia. They'll have to invest and have exposure. And you know, once money comes in, it will be very hard for that money to come out. So money is very fungible, especially in the markets. So once this money, that will be an icing on the cake. So taking a step back, Hadley, you have 3 stimulus. The first one is MSCI. The second one is the private investor sitting on the sideline. The third one, the icing on the cake that could be as big as the cake, would be the Aramco and what it could attract in terms of investors to the Saudi market.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.